like in person. That's weird.
How about that?
We must have a filter. We have a filter.
We do.
Is this a filter?
We have AI and
it's
CGI
AI.
and.
Does AI work like in radio?
Mm-hmm. Well, we're not really here right now.
Then it must be working.
Yeah.
So there's that. So voice is coming back a little bit. Frank Frangie, Hays Carlyon. Whoops, it just went out on me a little bit there, didn't it? It's like a short.
Yeah.
When your horse, it's got like a short in it, and then you get that air sometimes when you're trying to talk. It comes out.
What's your secret? What brings your voice back the quickest?
Not talking
not talking
yeah,
helps.
But what they do, they have this thing called Entertainer's Secret that you spray.
Oh, really?
That really does kind of work.
Oh, wow.
And then I'm big into the hot tea and honey.
Okay.
Do you do that at all?
I do a lot of honey.
Yeah, hot tea and honey does kind of work.
Yeah. Honey is good for me. And like cough drops. That kind of stuff.
They used to say you should drink like tea, honey, and like whiskey. Mm-hmm. Now, was that because it really helped, or is it just a cheap way to get some whiskey? It's just a way to add some whiskey to your appetite, to your like regimen, right?
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, I never figured out how whiskey helped your voice.
Right.
But why not?
Why not?
Right. So what I'm going to do is, instead of that, what I'm going to do is to really get my voice back, a lot of tea and honey, and then go have a couple beers. I think that'll do it.
I like it.
Do you use the whiskey when you lose your voice, JJ? What do you do?
I don't do anything. I don't know if I've ever even lost my voice.
You've never lost your
before.
voice. Yeah, you're too young to lose your voice. It'll come. It'll happen for you. So there's that. I have about once every 3 years, I get a little hoarse. And so
I usually almost always sometime in the fall will get a week where, I get like a head cold and have to deal with it. But
all right, but hey, glad you're with us today on a Wednesday. Our Wednesdays are always brought to you by our friends at Ricketts Electric, Zach Ricketts, and all the good folks there. They do a fantastic job. If you got if you need an electrician, I'll recommend the best guy in town, my friend Zach Ricketts from Ricketts Electric. Frangie Carlyon, La Selva with you. Fun show today. Brett Hastings will be by. We did not get to him a couple weeks ago, but I want to kind of relook at the whole situation. The Patel guy that stole from the Jags. Can you sue FanDuel or a gambling company? Because I say gambling company, I'm probably saying that wrong, but one of those groups.
Sportsbook.
A sportsbook. Can you sue a sportsbook if they allow you to keep gambling and you have a problem? I think it's a fascinating question. I'm kind of, my answer to that is what yours was a couple weeks ago when we started broaching it, and Brett got tied up in a deposition, couldn't get by here. But my belief is what yours is, and that is be responsible and don't get to that point, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my novice legal expertise would be basically throw the case right out the window.
Yeah. So, but it'll be fun. So he'll be by at about 4:20 to talk about that, and that comes up today on the program. And of course, the State Farm College football report is at 5:00. Shane Matthews, Tom Block, and Joe Zagacki will have that for us. So we're looking forward to that coming up later on the program as well. So a lot of fun things to get to today on the show. I want to talk a little bit about the Jags. I want to talk about this Brian Thomas Jr. stuff. How good, are deep balls to Brian Thomas Jr. slowly becoming the identity of the team?
Without a doubt.
That may be their identity. Is when's the deep ball to 7 coming? I can tell you as a play-by-play guy calling the games, I find myself waiting and wondering when's the deep ball to Brian Thomas Jr. coming?
And when you add play action to Bigsby in the mix of that, it's really hard, I think, for a defense to be disciplined enough and fast enough to stay on top of Brian Thomas.
Yeah, in fact,
to me, that's the real key to it, is when they can get the run game going early and then use the play action. Boy, I think for a defense and a safety, that is really, really tough to stay disciplined on. And he really doesn't even need you to take a misstep.
Well, that's it.
He just needs you not to immediately go into your drop.
And if you do that, you still may be in trouble. Yeah. But to your point about play action, you're right, Hayes. If you hold the safety even for a count, as fast as he is, that's it. If the safety takes one step forward, unless he's playing way deep center field, but if he's playing in a normal safety spot and Brian runs a post or one of those double moves, if the safety takes one wrong step, the way Brian Thomas runs, you're out of the play. The safety no longer can help you, and it really is becoming kind of the identity. There's nothing better than the long. Of all the things in football, the long bomb is still the beautiful thing in football, and the Jags are becoming team long bomb because Trevor's got the big arm, and Brian Thomas Jr. is that guy.
And his hands are so soft on those plays. His ability, his concentration is at a maximum. So it's it's such a wonderful combination for the Jaguars because you have this electric speed.
Right.
He's got amazing concentration, and his hands are so soft to make the kind of catch that's required, even if the coverage is good. And so what makes a team special is when you've got something that even when they defend it well, you're still beating them with it.
That's right.
That's what the Jaguars might have with Trevor to Brian Thomas.
So that'll be one of our topics today. But to get to that, FSU Miami has been one of the great rivalries, great on-field rivalries. I don't know that FSU, and JJ may beg to differ because he's a Miami fan, but I don't know that I find FSU Miami to be this rivalry of hate that Alabama Auburn is, that Georgia Tech is, that Florida Georgia is, that Florida State is, that Duke North Carolina is. It's a rivalry of great play. JJ, in your opinion, am I off the mark in that or no?
Every Miami Florida State game I've been to, there's a lot of hate there.
There is.
I've been to like 10, maybe 12 in my life.
I hear you. And
on the internet, it is.
Okay.
Pretty typical fan bases hate each other. I mean, what's hate?
And hate may be the wrong word.
This is what I would say from an outsider's perspective on it. It seems like with Florida State, Miami, there's a level of respect that you don't find in some other rivalries where it's just pure hatred, and I can't find anything redeemable about what the other side does.
You said it way better than I did. But I get that read that FSU Miami is. I get the sense that both of them hate the Gators worse than they hate each other. Now, maybe is Miami?
Oh no,
no,
not for us. I'm sure Florida State does.
Yeah, you're right. So that's interesting because I didn't, and I'm glad. I don't think we've ever done a show with a regular Miami fan on the show. Well, at least I haven't. So that's good stuff. So it's interesting. But I think people in this generation don't appreciate. You do, JJ, because you know the heritage of Miami football. But I think people that just watch football today probably have lost sight of how magnificent that rivalry was, Hays, over the years. The magnificent level of play, the heartbreak for the Seminole fans. I mean, nobody talks about the wide rights anymore, but those wide rights for Seminole fans that was about as gut-wrenching as anything a fan could ever go through because it kept happening. It was one of the great series, really great rivalries of all time. If your barometer is great play, I guess that's the point.
I would agree. In my life as a fan, I would say Florida State Miami is the best rivalry. I mean, when you're talking about 80s and 90s, of any rivalry that I've seen, when you couple drama, intensity, and what the players went on to do in the NFL on both sides. I mean, the number of guys that are in Canton that participated in that rivalry in the 80s and 90s, and now even into the beginning of, because now you can incorporate 01 Miami into that. I mean, it's staggering.
And the national title implications of all those games.
Absolutely.
All those games.
Because back then,
you couldn't lose.
You couldn't lose. There was no playoff. I mean, and so I mean, it was, to me, in terms of everything. We've had, Alabama and LSU, had a great run there for a little while. There have been others that are in the team picture, but for me, FSU Miami in its heyday, nothing has ever been.
Right now, it's like Bama Georgia's pretty damn good.
Yeah, that's right. But Bama, and that's a great point. Bama Georgia is not a rivalry.
Exactly. They don't play each other every year. It seems like they do.
And it's one-sided.
Yeah.
Kirby Smart's 1-6 against the tie.
That's right. But correct. But even if Georgia had won a few of those, it's not a rivalry because they haven't played forever. Right. It's just a great matchup of two teams that are close to each other. Now, you have enough of those and it evolves into a rivalry. But it's certainly not a traditional rivalry. They both have plenty of rivals. And I mean, Alabama's got Auburn and Tennessee, and Georgia's got Florida and Georgia Tech and Auburn, right? But they don't really have each other. So interesting stuff. So we'll talk more about that. One other thought I'm going to get to today in the program, and we touched on this yesterday. But did you see David Whitley's column in the Gainesville Sun today?
No.
The narrative has changed, and we hit on it yesterday. But the narrative clearly has changed. That if Billy, assuming Florida beats Florida State, and that hasn't happened yet, and it could all fall apart if he doesn't. The general perception is win one of the next 4 and he has his job. You realize that?
Yeah.
David Whitley wrote that today, and I think he's right. I think, in other words, get to 6 wins. Somehow get to that 6th win, and all the Lane Kiffin and this guy and Eli Drinkwitz and Jamie Chadwell and this guy and that guy. Do you call Nick Saban, Urban coming back? All of it. It seems like if the Gators can find 1 win, that's going to go. Now that's going to anger some people to no end, but I sense the narrative changing a little, and David wrote to it today, and even before he did, I think that's where it is.
It's because of DJ Lagway. I mean, any Florida fan that's watching DJ Lagway, you're sitting there thinking, is this too good to be true? Because we've been just so burned for 15 years on disappointment, and DJ Lagway, it's early, I get it, but I mean, he looks like he might be the best player they've had on that campus since Tim Tebow. And if that's the case, you have to allow Billy Napier to keep coaching him. Well, if Billy Napier brought a nuclear weapon to Gainesville and DJ Lagway, which it appears like he may have done,
right?
You cannot fire him and watch DJ Lagway go to USC or Texas A&M. And I have no reason to think that if Billy Napier retains his job, DJ Lagway is going to leave.
Well, here's what Lagway is. Who knows how good he'll be? He started 2 games. He's barely played. But what he is, he's the most potentially electrifying and exciting player they've had since Tebow. I'll say that right now. I'll say right now, he has the potential to excite fans more than anybody they've brought on that campus since Tim Tebow. Now, we'll see if it plays out that way, but I think that's your point.
My point is if DJ Lagway is the 2025 Florida quarterback, I don't care if a mannequin is the coach.
Yeah, right. And I think that's a big part of the narrative. Now, there's some people that aren't going to agree with you. Some people say I want Billy out so bad, but I think the narrative's changing, and Lagway's part of it, but Lagway's been there the whole time. I think it's not just Lagway; it's Lagway's been there the whole time, but it's starting. They almost beat Tennessee. Whether you like moral victories or not, they do happen. They just blew out a Kentucky team they haven't beaten in 3 years. And so that in conjunction with what they think Lagway might be, and Jaden Baugh and some of the other young players, I think and you have the narrative. My point is the narrative's changing.
And you also have to give Billy Napier credit for the defensive adjustments they made in that first bye week, how much different they've looked on that side of the ball. And again, who knows if that holds up? But Billy Napier was always going to have to be beyond a reasonable doubt with Billy Napier. If it was a tie, he was going to keep his job. They don't have a president right now, so it was going to have to be beyond a reasonable doubt. I think Billy Napier is starting to bring in a reason. The biggest reason is Lagway, because if Lagway may be a top 5 player in college football next year. Well, if you have a potential top 5 player in college football next year, you're not going to fire the coach that got him to campus.
Well, especially in the NIL era when it's easier than ever to leave.
Right.
We'll see. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll get to Sports and Courts. Brett Hastings is here. We'll talk about FanDuel. We'll talk about the sports books and how culpable are they when stuff goes wrong. Stay with us.
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
It's time for Bravo Days, Jacksonville's only Car Bravo certified sales event at Nimnick Buick GMC. For a limited time, enjoy rates as low as 1.9% APR or $500 in down payment assistance on Car Bravo certified vehicles at Nimnick. So now is the time to shop certified used vehicles and buy with confidence at Nimnick Buick GMC, Jacksonville's only Car Bravo certified dealer. Now, buying a certified used vehicle has never felt better. With Car Bravo, Nimnick Buick GMC can certify all makes and models. Honda, Toyota, Kia, Mazda, Ford. All makes, all models. And trading in your old vehicle? Well, don't forget who gives you the top dollar for your trade. Nobody but Nimnick. So shop online at NimnickBuickGMC.com or visit their showroom off Phillips Highway. Remember, it's Bravo Days, and Jacksonville's only Car Bravo certified sales event is at Nimnik.
Get entertaining insight on Sunday's games all day Monday.
They came together as a team.
Sink your teeth into Dandy Foods Postgame Monday.
It is a game.
Makers of quality fresh sandwiches and home of the good stuff on 1010XL.
This is Josh Woolsey with Woolsey Morecambe. Woolsey Morecambe is your MVP in the legal game. Our team of skilled attorneys tackle personal injury cases with compassion and expertise. With fumbles like a car or truck accident, we're here to seek the compensation you deserve. Right here in Jacksonville, we've successfully won over $100 million and earned a championship-worthy record. When it's game time, you want a team that plays to win. Contact Woolsey Morecambe at 1-800-WOOLSEY. Offices, Jacksonville.
Get this thing unwrapped here. Duval! Praz, what in the world are you doing working on your Duval? That's right, man. I really identify with Duval. You live in St. Johns County, knucklehead. I mean the Duval sub, the Dailies Dash Duval. Turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheeses. Lettuce, tomato, crispy and fresh, you know, like me. I'm sure there's a Dailies Dash sub that sums you up. The boss. Because, of course, oven roasted beef, Munster cheese, roasted mushrooms, caramelized onions. It's the boss of all subs. Only available for me. That's just not true. What do you mean? I walked in the other day, screamed, "You know it!" and said, "A boss for a boss." Well, no matter who you are, there is a Dailies Dash sandwich or sub for you. Go find yours. They may even make you a boss. I'm sure they will, because it is Dailies Dash. Where more is better. And you got that right.
This is Tony Baselli, Pro Football Hall of Famer. I was known for protecting our quarterback. These days, I'm extending that protection to a different arena, your home. I have partnered with Heritage Roofing of North Florida, your premier local roofers with over 25 years of experience. Heritage is your go-to roofer for hurricane preparation, with same-day inspections and estimates. They also work with all insurance companies. Let Heritage Roofing of North Florida safeguard your home and family. Visit heritagenfl.com for your free estimate today.
State license CCC 1335410.
Okay, listen up, team. They're out to test our reputation as the best plumber in Jacks, so we gotta play like the experts we are. When customers call with leaky faucets, broken water heaters, toilet repairs, broken pipes, or any other challenge, we'll give them the solution fast. Now, who are we?
Roland Reese Plumbing!
I can't hear you.
Roland Reese Plumbing!
Now that's what a winner sounds like. Customers always win with Roland Reese Plumbing at plumberinjacks.com.
Baloo for Shinatri Chiropractic. They've helped me get rid of my headaches and pain in my neck and back. Are you suffering from an auto accident? What about TMJ pain? Headaches associated with jaw clenching, grinding of the teeth, or stress-related disorders? Shinatri Chiropractic has a physical therapist on staff for rehabilitation, quality chiropractic care, dry needling, massage, and acupuncture. Call 743-6700 or go to ShinatriDC.com.
Everyone who puts on a high school football uniform dreams of Friday Night Glory. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, Friday Night Lights. Join Hacker and Andrew Gibson. Presented by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning on 1010XL.
Are you a member of the Ran Out of Room Club? Maybe it's a boat, RV, or cars. Maybe it's office space. A luxury storage unit at the Shed is your solution. Opening soon in Atlanta Beach. AC and plumbing available and spots filling fast. Don't join the Ran Out of Time Club. Go to theshedjacks.com.
Grab your lucky spot on the couch, because traditions make Sunday easy to enjoy. Bud Light. Easy to Sunday, easy to enjoy. Bud Light is the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Enjoy responsibly. 21 plus. Copyright 2024 Anheuser-Busch. Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Hacker here. And guys, the countdown is over. I didn't just hit the 100-pound mark. I blew past it thanks to Awaken 180 weight loss. 107 pounds gone just like that. More weight than a quarter keg of beer. Speaking of beer, here's where it gets fun. We're throwing a big celebration at Mr. Chubby's Wings in Ponte Vedra Beach. Yeah, you heard that right. A weight loss party at Mr. Chubby's. The irony's juicier than their wings, but here's the thing. I can celebrate at Mr. Chubby's and still keep the pounds off. If you didn't know, yes, wings are still on the menu while losing weight with Awaken 180 weight loss. Join me in 1010XL on November 9th for the Florida and Texas game, and you could win a spot at my table. Food is included. There'll be ticket giveaways and more for the celebration. If I can shed a whole Mr. Chubby and still throw a party at one, what's holding holding you back. Call Awaken 180, 844-346-1800, or hit up awaken180weightloss.com, and let's get it done.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Now time for Sports in Courts, legal issues in the sports world with Brett Hastings from the Hastings Injury Law Firm. Hit back with Hastings.
Good to see the counselor in here. You were last time I was here. You had a little deposition.
Yeah,
you were doing your real job,
right?
I don't understand how you let that get in the way of this job.
Yeah, it was the infamous.
Bad
how long do you think this guy's? I just think this depo is going to take.
Yeah,
2 hours.
Yeah,
7.5 later. You know,
wow.
So.
Is that? Do you spend a lot of time in depositions? Is that like the main thing?
Depositions, mediations.
That's
the biggest thing that changed in our world was the pandemic.
Yeah,
because it used to be really everything was in person. But now the overwhelming majority of depositions are actually taken via Zoom. The mediations are done via Zoom. And you know, for simple procedural things, honestly, the people who are the best at Zoom in this town are the judges and the actual mediators. They know every function. They know how to do it. And it's good for everybody. You know, it brings costs down. It ups efficiency. And so, you know, if there were a couple good things to come out of the pandemic, that sure was it.
Interesting stuff. All right, let's get to this topic we're going to talk about today. We started with the person that stole from the Jaguars,
right?
Millions and millions of dollars, and he has. Now, take me through this whole story.
Right. So
he has claimed,
and Amit Patel worked for the Jags.
Right.
He back in December of last year, you know, ended up pleading guilty to essentially $22.2 million he stole from the Jaguars, and I don't know a lot of the details of how that happened, other than, trust me, you know, they could prove it beyond the exclusion of every reasonable doubt. It was clear. And so, yeah, he's been imprisoned over that. What's interesting now is he, in the Southern District of New York, has sued FanDuel, okay, in a $250 million lawsuit where he says that they have been essentially predatory, preyed on him and this addiction, you know, to pull this money out. You know, really the analysis, I probably am going to agree with Attorney Carlyon over there and go, hey, this is frivolous. It should be thrown out. But I think what's interesting is there's kind of two general cases out there that would be guides for this, right? We had the tobacco lawsuits where people said, hey, you addicted me to these cigarettes, and literally billions of dollars were won by plaintiffs. And probably the ones that I think are closer to this and that failed, there were people who sued McDonald's over obesity, right? And so all of those lawsuits failed, right? And so the thing that was really distinguishing is when they got into the tobacco lawsuits, they really found horrific things in corporate notes and actions that they took, targeting children, trying to figure out ways to get children hooked at ages where they didn't know what the health ramifications of this were. They were putting specific chemicals and additives into cigarettes to even take something that was already addictive and to bring it up. And they intentionally went and did that, and they were able to see that. Okay. Now, I think it's a little bit of a DJ Lagway, Hail Mary. What they have said in the lawsuit, but I don't believe they have proof, is that they believe that there are specific types of algorithms and that they have all this information to know that he's the type of person that's an addict and to keep, you know, extracting this money from them. And so it's their fault. I don't tend to believe that. I think that'd be really tough to prove from a causation standpoint. But I think that's, it's not the type of lawsuit our firm would want to go and be associated with or bring. But I think these lawyers, you know, up in New York want to go and figure out and say, hey, is this less like McDonald's and more like the tobacco lawsuits? Because if somehow you were to prevail on it, there would be significant damages.
So let's assume he gets any traction here. Can the Jags sue FanDuel?
What, for the monies that they had lost?
Yeah.
Not really. You know, under like a third-party beneficiary. Yeah, no, it wouldn't really work. And I think if this worked, you'd already be suing the casinos, right? Because he says,
well, that's right.
You give me FanDuel credits, and then I keep gambling, and you give me lavish gifts. But as long as we know, what's the term? High roller, right? Hey, here's a free suite. You know, here's some drinks. You know, here's a couple of bone-in ribeyes or whatever they are. And, you know, at the end of the day, you're still an adult. I mean, this guy was sophisticated enough to go work for the Jacksonville Jaguars, okay? And to extract this money, they have CPAs, they have some of the top professionals that work with the Jacksonville Jaguars and figure out how to get around it. So at the end of the day, there's got to be some, you know, accountability, and he wasn't some easily manipulated teen.
Well, and the other thing, too, I would think the FanDuel attorney would say, because part of Patel's argument is, well, they recruited me and they would text me, hey, why aren't you betting more? You know, what is something wrong? You know, what? And I would think the FanDuel attorney argument there would be, well, yes, we were recruiting him because he's obviously a terrible gambler. I mean, obviously he knows nothing about sports, and to lose this amount of money, I mean, his percentage had to be woeful. And so obviously, to your point, that's the kind of customer you want if this is your industry. So you want somebody who enjoys gambling, but somebody who almost always picks the loser.
But that's why I think you should stick with Sports Talk Radio, because I think it's still a weak lawsuit. I don't agree with that. That's the best argument is the flip side, right? They're finding the losers, staying on the losers, using technology, using AI to keep this person betting who shouldn't just be betting, right? But we see it all the time. We see it in the beer commercials, right? Hot girls, lots of fun, great things to do. And then we go, hey, drink responsibly at the end, as if we're not trying to do everything in our power to glamorize alcohol.
Well,
Same thing with gambling.
That's a great segue to where I was going next. If a bar overserves and someone gets in an accident,
right,
is the bar liable?
So it's super interesting. Well, we handle these cases all the time. They're called dram shop cases.
Okay.
If the bar has knowledge that person is an alcoholic, okay, and that's tough to do. It's called a habitual drunkard standard in the state of Florida. Then they can be responsible. And then the flip side of it is if this is where these are the cases you see pursued the most. If they serve a minor who may look like it, present a fake ID, they can be almost strictly liable, you know, in that case.
What if a guy comes in that's not an alcoholic but has too many and keeps getting served and then gets in an accident?
I've handled the same case where we go on each side, local restaurant where people go to get margaritas. We had to go back through the receipts, and I was able to figure out that at this table of 4, and where from the deposition testimony, 2 of the people were primarily drinking, the other 2 weren't.
Right.
Through these margaritas, it was equivalent of 267 shots.
Wow.
And the female drove, her boyfriend at the time home, and went and killed him, in it. So we represented the estate in the case. And so they were saying, well, we didn't know about their alcoholic propensity. And we said, you had to have known. This is so much alcohol, people sitting there for so long.
Right.
They told us
there is culpability.
They told us they'd never pay a penny. And I'll tell you, there's a confidential settlement. It didn't go to trial. And at the end, they stepped up. But that's what we litigated about. That's what we battled for, for years.
So it's related, but it's different than if a casino lets you keep betting.
Right. It's got to be, and now I think part of the reason they would bring this lawsuit is that it's easy to do. I went to Gainesville, went to the game with the boys. We were watching the Alabama game before the Florida game, right? So they've got all their friends. There's 15 college kids. Every one of them was betting on an app.
I'll be darned.
So, when I was in college, they circulated these sheets. They had like a pick 3 games against the spread parlay. And I might know 1 out of 200 guys that did it.
Right.
So there is a lot more that's out there as to the prevalence. And if there's any strength for argument, it's sort of saying what you're saying. If they identify these people and keep pushing on them, is that going to be the type of practice we don't want to do? You got to remember, there's legislation about to come out to try to regulate some of this. And so we'll have to wait and see.
But isn't there a difference between being addicted and being stupid? Like, he could be a stupid bettor. Doesn't mean he's addicted to gambling. And that's the argument that wouldn't FanDuel use in this? That, we obviously try to develop a relationship with customers that, use us heavily.
No, I agree
but it's not that we're feeding an addiction.
Right. No, I agree with you. I think how do they know what his financial makeup is, right?
Right.
Like Michael Jordan could go lose $2 million betting on these apps every year, and it doesn't change anything, right?
Right.
But if it's driving somebody to steal from their employer,
right?
That's probably indicative of addiction, right? You could be stupid and not good at it, but you go, okay, too much. I can't put gas in my car, or I can't do those things. But how would they have that knowledge at this point? And I think that would be the issue, that it would really turn on. But at the end of the day, when people who are addicts go out and drink and drive and kill somebody, right, they can be sued themselves, but you don't turn around and sue Bacardi and Miller Lite and all of these other people. And so it's a little bit more attenuated. If there's a slight difference, it's the fact that by way of these apps now, they are interacting with them. And if you're going to be successful in that lawsuit, you're going to have to tie it up and show that in the CEO and in the boardrooms, they're paying professionals to prey on these people. They're going to say the guy was a bad bettor. The flip side, and the plaintiff's lawyers in the case are going to say he was an addict. They had all the data they needed to know it. And that's what they're trying to say here. I just think at this point, this is a loser lawsuit, but I don't know. Maybe that changes over time.
Great work. That is sports. That's a terribly interesting topic, though. It really is. Great work as always, Brett. Yeah. Brett Hastings from the Hastings Injury Law Firm. That is Sports in Courts. More in a moment. Stay with us.
The Frangie Show from the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
If you need an insurance agent, I'll recommend the best guy in town, State Farm agent Craig Dewhurst. Call him at 940-9740. Really good guy, really good agent. Life insurance, homeowners, automotive, you name it, he'll handle it for you. Tell him what you need. He'll assess your whole situation. What kind of coverage do you need? How much coverage? What should your deductible be? What do you make, and how does it fit your cost and your rates? You will love dealing with Craig. What a nice guy he is, and how he'll help you get the right answers. The best in the business. Craig Dewhurst from State Farm, 940-9740.
Who has the best lineup this season? Honda. Cars, trucks, SUVs, vans, hybrids, and electric. This is one of the greatest lineups Honda has ever had. And now is the best time to purchase or lease one. Visit your local Honda dealer now. Remember, only a Honda is a Honda.
I'm Holt Harrell with Harrell & Harrell. Choosing a law firm after an accident is an important decision. So how do you decide? With so many messages on air, I know it can all sound the same. At Harrell & Harrell, we believe what sets us apart is our commitment to you. When you've been injured in an accident, you need help from someone you know, someone you can trust. Harrell & Harrell, a name you know, a name you trust. Don't settle for less than you deserve. Offices, Jacksonville.
Are spooky plumbing problems haunting your home this Halloween? Don't be scared. Call Duck Duck Rooter, your ghost-busting plumbing heroes.
Hi there, I'm Brian, your friendly plumber. Is your toilet making ghostly groans? Or is your sink dripping like a vampire's fangs?
Don't let plumbing problems give you the heebie-jeebies. Call Duck Duck Rooter at 904-862-6769 and chase those spooky issues away.
Duck Duck Rooter, because even plumbing nightmares deserve a happy ending. Quacktastic service guaranteed.
Jacksonville's building a fence along the goal line. This is the Superior Fence and Rail Defensive Player of the Game. Superior Fence and Rail, where quality matters.
Devin Lloyd was a star for Duval while in London. The 6'3" linebacker recorded 8 tackles against New England, with 4 being solo. And he also included a sack in what was a strong showing. Lloyd was a certified anchor for the Jacksonville defense, and he's your Superior Fence and Rail's Defensive Player of the Game.
If you're tired of your fence looking like a bad hair day, well, it's time for a fence makeover with Superior Fence and Rail. They'll make your yard the talk of the town with a new fence installed by their expert team.
Your fence is fantastic. My fence is giving all of my neighbors some serious pick and envy. Thanks, Superior Fence and Rail.
So get off the fence and call Superior Fence and Rail for your fence installation project today.
SuperiorFenceandRail.com. Need or want cash? Beaches Jewelry and Pawn has cash available. Ready to buy guitars, surfboards, jewelry, firearms, tools, and especially gold. They need it all, selling or pawning. Get cash on the spot at Beaches Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach.
Give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. Teach a man to fish. And he's listening to the Nimnicht Outdoor Show.
With tips and stories.
Presented by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning.
Every Saturday morning, 7 to 10.
On 1010XL.
There are 3 certainties in life: death, taxes, and if you stay in your home long enough, a new roof. Pick it here for our friends at Lockhart Roofing. Nobody better in Jacksonville. How do I know? They are a local certified Master Elite contractor, and that means they have a GAF Master Elite warranty. That's the best in the roofing industry. In this day and age, don't settle for cheaper discount roofers. Lockhart Roofing has been here for decades. They aren't going anywhere. Call my friends at Lockhart Roofing, 994-3851. That's 994-3851. Lockhart Roofing, Jacksonville's best for Jacksonville people.
Visionaries, builders, and doers. Are you ready to change the world? Miller Electric is your opportunity to shape the future. Miller Electric is leading the charge in electric vehicle technology with our state-of-the-art EV Innovation Design Center. We're working to create a sustainable future. We're also the proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, powering their performance at the brand new Miller Electric Center. Miller Electric, we provide competitive pay, unbeatable benefits. Apply today. MillerCareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
Hey, sports fans, this is Hays Carlyon from MyBookie. Our listeners have been killing it in a year full of surprises. MyBookie is the one book that's got your back. No fluff, no second guessing, just straight up action. Does your other sports book pay out when you push on a bet? MyBookie pays you back, and if you're new to the game and not sure where to start, we've got you covered. Step up, use our promo code 1010XL, and that'll double your bankroll with 100% deposit bonus right from the jump. Here's a pro tip to get you rolling. The NFL teams with powerhouse offensive lines are dominating the run game this year, and betting game total unders has been printing money. Stack that with MyBookie's risk-free Thursdays, so why wait? There's a new risk-free odds boost every Thursday. To find the bet, click on the Bet Boost tab and scroll down. If it hits, you win. If it doesn't, MyBookie refunds your money. Sign up now. Get your double deposit bonus with promo code 1010XL, the best sign-up bonus for Florida bettors. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie.
Meet Cheryl. Hey. She's on vacation and lost in the moment. Unfortunately, so is her Chase debit card.
It's gotta be somewhere.
Maybe she lost it at salsa night.
These skirts should have pockets.
Or maybe she lost it at Pilates.
3 and 2 and...
But she's not worried. With the Chase mobile app, she can lock her card till it turns up. Tools that help protect. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
This is Dr. Steve Crenshaw, Assistant Team Physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jaguars, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
As the Jaguars get ready to take on the Packers at the Bank this Sunday at 1, safety Darnell Savage is getting ready to face his old team. As this Jaguars secondary has seen lots of personnel changes, Savage feels comfortable with the versatility the secondary brings as they get healthy and play more snaps together.
Not having Tyson, injuries, that's just a big part of this game. Just kind of what comes with it. I missed a little time as well. So just, working everybody back in there and just getting on the same page as far as communication and just playing together again. We haven't really all been out there at the same time since camp. So just getting back into the swing of things and just, just sharpening up the communication and that kind of thing. But
I'm Max Fink with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Ricketts Electric Wednesday on the Frangie Show. Ricketts Electric, the power connection you can trust.
Any needs you have from an electrician, call them at 904-320-5960. That's 904-320-5960. They really do a terrific job. Zach Ricketts and all the folks at Ricketts Electric, whether it's commercial work, they've done that for us at our ballpark. Whether it's stuff at your home, they've done that for us at my house. So the folks at Ricketts can really help you. Ricketts Electric, give them a call today. I said this earlier about the deep ball to Brian Thomas Jr. Now, look. He's not just a deep ball guy. He runs crossing routes. They run reverses to him. He's super fast. He's physical, too. But the deep ball is the thing that I think really is, becoming part of the identity of the Jaguars. And I'm thinking about this in the early years, the glory years, the true glory years of Jacksonville football, which were the 90s. The first team that won, they won with grit, and they better than everybody thought. The 95 and the 96 team that went to the championship game. Natron Means was a big part of that thing.
Tenacity.
They were that grit word that Tom Coughlin loved so much was in play. And then when they got really good in the late 90s and probably had the best team in 99, I think, Fred Taylor was magnificent. Mark Brunell had become one of the better quarterbacks in the league. The line was so good. The defense, that's when they had Hardy Nickerson and Bryce Popp and Cardinal Lake and gone out and gotten expensive free agents to go with what they had developed here. So there's a lot of pieces. But I got to tell you, I don't know that any piece was more important than that deep ball to Jimmy Smith. You know that? Of all the pieces, of all the elements, I don't know that any of them were more important than that deep ball to Jimmy Smith. I'm not saying that was the identity of the team because that's disrespectful to Fred and Mark and Tony and all those defensive guys. But I tell you what, nobody wanted to cover that guy, and this feels like that. There's the other pieces don't yet, but that element or this element feels like that element felt.
Well, and look at how the league has changed in 25 years. It's become now where that deep ball is the essence of everything that the championship caliber teams are doing. I mean, right. You look at, the Chiefs' early days of their dynasty, Tyreek Hill. You look at it takes that kind of component. It's gotten to the point now where defenses do their best to try and take it away and make you kind of go the length of the field. But if you've got that element that can beat it, it just makes everything so much easier because it's so hard to go 12 plays, 75 yards, 6.5 minutes for a touchdown and do it regularly. There's just so many things that can derail a drive. And so to have the ability to hit the 50-plus yard bomb, it just changes everything. And again, it's got to be what Green Bay's number one focus is defensively. I mean, the Jaguars have a lot of things you have to be worried about. The running game's good. Certainly Christian Kirk's a good player. Evan Ingram's a good player. Gabe Davis can do some things. Trevor Lawrence it looks like he's, coming into his own now. But it all starts with Brian Thomas. I mean, and the other thing, too, is I didn't know this about the Dolphins until the Jaguars. You kind of said this after week one. I also think that when it becomes your identity, when you hit it, it completely changes the momentum of a game.
That's right.
And what Tyreek did against the Jags in week one.
That's right.
And that's what this could end up being, where it doesn't matter how the first 35 minutes of a game have gone. If the Jaguars are still in striking distance and then Trevor hits Brian Thomas for a bomb, totally changed. It just completely changes the building.
And the more it happened, you're exactly right. And the more it happens game after game, because it's happening every game. There's a deep ball to Brian Thomas Jr. or a pass interference like in the Dolphins game on an attempted deep ball to Brian Thomas Jr. It's happening every game now. They're taking deep shots. Against the Bears, they took one and missed it. Trevor underthrew him. It was a touchdown, and he underthrew him. That's happened a few times. But it's happening enough now that it ultimately changes, Hays, the way teams have to defend you. It ultimately changes how teams can defend you. You can't defend. Look, you can't stack that box if that son of a gun's going to run by your cornerbacks every time. And I don't care how good your cornerback is. I mean, Christian Gonzalez, who the Patriots was a pretty good player. And they don't have a lot of good players anymore. He's the first round draft pick. He's a pretty good player. And on the deep ball that Brian caught, he had good coverage. But Brian had a step and Trevor stuck it in there. So I think it's a big part of this team's identity. I think as we, not just this year, hopefully this year, I think they're going to find a rhythm. I think they're starting to. Hopefully it didn't happen too late. Hopefully the way the schedule played out is you stumble early, and then when you start finding yourself, you have this brutal schedule. Look, they're looking uphill right now. We all know that. But so whether it's this year or years as we move forward, that's going to be a big part of this team's identity. I mean, Trevor's here for a long time. Brian Thomas Jr., barring injuries, here for a long time. They found a downhill runner who could be here for a long time. So there's a lot of hope, a lot of promise. We'll see what winds up happening. So it'll be, if nothing else, it's fun to watch.
Imagine this offense in 2 years. You're still going to have Trevor Lawrence, Brian Thomas, and Tank Bigsby. They're all going to be under contract.
Right.
I mean, and so, Brian Thomas with an offseason to get more nuanced with his routes and just, have an offseason to breathe a little bit and not have to go through a draft process. I mean, I mean, other than Jalen Ramsey, who was a superstar basically the second he arrived here, and it's to me in terms of the Jaguars in the last decade, it's been Jalen Ramsey, who was immediate superstar,
right?
Brian Thomas, who was basically immediate superstar. I can't even think of a third that would even be kind of close to where this isn't like a smoke and mirrors, a fluky kind of thing. This guy is unbelievable.
Yeah, and I'll say this: I tend to temper my enthusiasm on stuff like that. I'm someone by nature. I need more of a. I need a better sample size. We had the conversation about Lagway. I need more of a sample size with Lagway. I typically need more than 7 games to tell myself how special a guy is. But I'm with you on this one. I've seen it's clear now. He's that fast. I'm telling you when it really got my attention when I was talking to Rick Stroud and TJ Reeves and a bunch of people I know in that Buccaneers media, the Tampa Bay Bucs media. We all know those guys. Rick Stroud's covered that league a long time, man. TJ Reeves has been Tampa a long time. I could give you 3 or 4 other guys, JP Peterson guys that know that team. And talking to them after the first practice, the joint practices, and then after both of them, do you remember that? When the defensive backs went, those guys, because they were staying out at Sawgrass Marriott. So, and Rick was staying out there with them. And some of our buddies, we were talking to a lot of those guys during that week. And they all said, some of those defensive backs, Tampa Bay defensive backs, are going, whoa. And by the way, they're practicing against Mike Evans and Chris Godwin every day. It's not like they're practicing against 2 hamburgers now. They're practicing against 2 real, maybe not the fastest guys, but 2 really good receivers and 2 or 3 defensive backs that are practicing against Mike Evans and Chris Godwin every day. Said, that dude, people don't run like that guy. Veteran defensive backs have been in the league a long time, so people don't run like that son of a gun does. So that's when I think it kind of illuminated in my mind, I think.
Without a doubt. And again, if the Jaguars can keep incorporating the play action component to it, it just puts so much pressure on a defense, so much pressure on the back end of a defense to be disciplined and still be able to cover. And I think it's going to be there all season. Now again, there's the Jaguars are going to have to find stops on their own. The defense is going to have to get better, and they've got some guys. Foye Oluokun, Andrew Wingard is obviously coming back, and that will help. But in terms of offensively and their identity, I think you're dead on, because I mean this is going to be the identity nationally of the Jaguars, is going to be Trevor to Brian Thomas. I mean, if this keeps up, again, he's on pace for 1,245 receiving yards and 10 touchdowns this season. I mean,
is that good? Would that be good? I
mean, so what that is going to do in the offseason, if he hits that, I mean, now the Jaguars have one of the most young, explosive playmakers in the NFL that everyone's talking about. I mean, obviously he's going to be a fantasy football darling, which so many NFL fans pay attention to. So it's incredibly exciting. But from a winning the game standpoint on Sunday, I mean, if you have that component, it's all going to start there. And it's going to, again, add so much more value to everything else they want to do with the run game, short, intermediate passing. And Trevor Lawrence deserves credit because he's been better hitting it lately. He's missed them. He had the Houston game was a debacle. But, if and he's not going to hit them all, I understand that. But he has done a much better job as well. And so it could be a really special connection.
Yeah, I think so too. And by the way, we predicted this at the beginning of the season or before the season. If deep balls to Brian Thomas Jr. are a thing, and they've become that, how much, and we're seeing it, how much more is that mid-range open for Evan Ingram and Christian Kirk? Well, we're seeing it. Evan Ingram and Christian Kirk are suddenly big factors again, in large part because of that. Do you think we have a shootout Sunday?
Well,
Jordan Love, he's missed
Green Bay is going to score.
Jordan Love, for a guy that he missed 2 or 3 games, still has 15 touchdowns. I mean, that's after missing. How many do we miss? 2 games?
He missed at least 2.
That's a guy that missed part of the season, has 15 touchdowns. And I know he's thrown some picks, but he's got 15 touchdown passes. That's a bunch for a guy that didn't play some of the games.
I would be surprised if the winner of this game isn't over 35 points.
You would certainly think the winners in the 30s, wouldn't you? You would certainly think, and again, I think on a good day, I think the Jags can be that team. I think the Jags can score. I think they can go up and down the field some. I believe that they've been in the 30s 2 of the last 3 games. I think they can. I think they can get there. I wouldn't that be funny if that's who they become? They become Air Trevor. Because
that'd be fantastic.
Because even as good as they were 2 years ago, when they won the division and won a playoff game, they were still about balance. And look, Doug Peterson's like every other coach. He wants balance. They haven't forgotten about Travis Etienne. I promise you that. Tank Bigsby has become an explosive running back too. So you're always going to want balance. But no matter how much balance you want, most teams are better at one than the other. I don't care. I don't care who you are. You're a better passing team than a running team. Everybody's better at one. Nobody's exactly the same, no matter how much they talk about balance. So it'll be interesting if they become that team. That'd be a lot of fun. All right, back to college football after the break. It's the State Farm College Football Report. Shane Matthews talking Gator football. Tom Block talks Knowles. Joe Zagacki checks in on the Canes. That's next. Stay with us.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
In every game, there's a guy who just makes plays.
He's their best home run hitter and elusive generational type back.
Listen for the Universal Roof and Contracting Offensive Player of the Game. Experience the universal difference on 1010XL. Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
Why go big or go home when you can go epic and save at Arlington Toyota? Mia here, and right now you can lease a new 2024 Corolla LE for only $89 a month. A new 2025 Camry SE for only $129 per month. Need an SUV? Then lease a new 2024 RAV4 XLE for only $199 per month. Our friends at Arlington even have epic lease savings on trucks too. Go epic and save big at Arlington Toyota. Shop arlingtontoyota.com today.
Mark Watson with Hardball Creative. Are the company's Zoom calls getting boring? Might be a good time to order some new logo caps or temporary tattoos. Check them out online at hardballcreative.com.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
Being an athlete means having a healthy desire to do as much as you can with your body. For as long as you can. Gatorade has lower sugar, electrolyte-backed hydration options to keep you rehydrated and replenished. Gatorade, for every athlete.
From Gatorade Zero to Gatorade Endurance Formula and Gator Light, there's something for every athlete. Find it at your local Winn-Dixie. It's a win-win. Gatorade, official partner of the NFL.
Hacker here, and guys, the countdown is over. I didn't just hit the 100-pound mark. I blew past it thanks to Awaken 180 weight loss. 107 pounds gone just like that. More weight than a quarter keg of beer. Speaking of beer, here's where it gets fun. We're throwing a big celebration at Mr. Chubby's Wings in Ponte Vedra Beach. Yeah, you heard that right. A weight loss party at Mr. Chubby's. The irony's juicier than their wings, but here's the thing. I can celebrate at Mr. Chubby's and still keep the pounds off. If you didn't know, yes, wings are still on the menu while losing weight with Awaken 180 weight loss. Join me in 1010XL on November 9th for the Florida and Texas game, and you could win a spot at my table. Food is included. There'll be ticket giveaways and more for the celebration. If I can shed a whole Mr. Chubby and still throw a party at one, what's holding you back? Call Awaken 180, 844-346-1800, or hit up awaken180weightloss.com, and let's get it done.
Home of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Get more Gators on the Gator Bites podcast presented by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists with new episodes every Friday. Subscribe and listen by searching for 1010XL's Gator Bites podcast wherever you find podcasts and at 1010XL.com.
Thermal Engineers is hiring. Thermal Engineers is a commercial HVAC contractor serving North Florida for over 20 years. Qualified technicians and installers, how does top pay, 401k, and full benefits sound, and a signing bonus? Is it time for a positive change in your career? Join the family-oriented commercial HVAC contractor at Thermal Engineers. Call 230-1172 or go to Thermal Engineers, Inc., an equal opportunity employer.
Your car is like part of your family. It takes you to work, drops the kids off at school, goes with you on vacation. You feel safe in your car, but all that can change in an instant. due to someone else's carelessness. Now you need money for medical bills, car repairs, lost wages. You need help, and you need it now. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us at 396-5555. Farah and Farah, protecting you and your family since 1979. Jacksonville.
Hey everybody, it's Mike Dempsey, and I just cannot say enough good things about my friends at Pella Windows and Doors. They have the highest quality products, the strongest limited warranties in the industry, and they just flat out look amazing. But don't just take my word for it. Consumer Reports still has Pella rated #1 in all 3 major window categories, so why not go with the best? Call them today or visit the Pella showroom, and be sure to ask about the latest hurricane and impact-resistant windows. That's Pella Windows and Doors on Phillips Highway, and tell them Mike sent you.
PRP treatment is kind of the thing these days, and in many cases, it eliminates the need for surgery. This is Sheridan Tootin, and my experience with PRP from Southeast Orthopedic Specialist has been nothing short of great. I'm really feeling much better now. Ask your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist doctor about PRP treatment.
This is Dr. Kevin Murphy with Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, where athletes are treated like pros.
Relieve pain and get back to life. SOS. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
The Jaguars are back at Everbank Stadium to go head-to-head with the Green Bay Packers for our crucial catch game. Join us October 27th as we fight cancer through early detection, risk reduction, and awareness all game long. Lock in your tickets now by visiting jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000. We'll see you there.
Find your why with membership at the First Coast YMCA. The Y has something for everyone at any age. Come try free access to your local Y every Wellness Wednesday this month. Check out our fitness classes, swimming, pickleball, youth sports, and so much more for free every Wednesday in October. Plus, we'll waive the join fee when you become a member this month. Get active, be social, live healthier, and discover all the benefits of YMCA membership at your local Y or visit fcymca.org.
Max Fink here with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update. With October wrapping up, that means we're approaching college basketball season. Yesterday, the UNF Ospreys held their media days ahead of the 2024-25 season. The Ospreys are hoping to make a run the A-Sun this year, but tip off non-conference play Monday, November 4th, when they head up to South Carolina for the season opener. In high school football action, the Bulls Bulldogs continue to roll as they cruise past Riverside last Friday night, 38-19. Five-star wide receiver Naheem Burrows put up another impressive performance, catching 6 balls for 145 yards and a touchdown. Bulls travels to Wolfson this Friday night, kickoff at 6:30 on 10:10 a.m. On 92.5 FM, Bishop Kenny Crusaders head to Westside at 6:30 as they look for their 3rd win in a row, looking to improve on 6-3 on the year. It's 78 degrees at 5:01. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Time now for the State Farm College Football Report with Shane Matthews on the Gators, Tom Block on the Noles, and Joe Zagacki on the Canes. Presented by your local State Farm agent.
All right, let's start talking college football. Shane Matthews checks in first from the Gator Radio Network. His report is brought to you by Ron McCann, Mike Tozel, Caitlin Duggar, Jason Judy, and Catherine Boustert, all State Farm agents. Shane, maybe, just maybe, the Gators have found a little something here. I wasn't here last week to talk about that Tennessee game, but they hang 48 on Kentucky. I'm not going to crown them yet, but it does feel like they've turned a corner of sorts. Do you feel that way?
Yeah, possibly. I think a lot of be told here, Frank. The next 4 weeks, you're playing probably the 4 best quarterbacks with 4 best offenses in the league. So that will determine how much our defense has improved. But, it's been great to win football games, and hopefully, they can get healthy through the bye week and get ready for Georgia.
Shane, potentially, what kind of player can DJ Lagway be?
Well, he's got a great skill set. He's got a great football IQ, has thrown the ball really well. Now, I don't think you'll see that many completions that you complete when you throw the deep ball. He's been hot when it comes to that. But he's got a chance to be a really good player. And, the difference I think that we've seen in the the last 4 games, when you go back to Mississippi State, you go to Kentucky, you look at Tennessee, and even the Stanford game, Billy's called the game different. It's almost like I've had my back against the wall. We're going to take some shots, and we're going to let it all hang out. If they continue doing that and allowing their playmakers to make plays, they got a chance.
Let me ask you this about that. You've always said, take 7-8 shots down the field. You're going to hit 3 or 4 of them or 2 or 3 of them, and you're going to win the game. And I think that's a great philosophy. Well, you liked throwing deep. I think Werfel liked throwing deep. I think Rex Grossman, I think some guys like throwing the ball down the field. I'm watching it with Trevor here. Do you think DJ just has more of an interest in throwing the ball deep? I love Graham Mertz, but I thought he checked down sometimes when he didn't have to. Am I overreaching there?
Well, Frank, here's what I tell everybody. The safest throw in football is the deep ball. You don't think about anything.
Yeah.
You take your steps and you let it go. And if you hit them, that's great. If you get PI, that's great. If you miss it, okay, we're going to come back to it. When I was coaching, when my starter got dinged up and you had to put the backup in, most people go in there and turn around and hand it off to your tailback. We threw deep because it was safe.
Yeah.
When you throw slants and hitches, all that stuff, you saw it with Kentucky's third-string quarterback came in the game the other night.
Good point.
He threw a hitch route like 5 seconds late, pick 6. That's a tough throw. Throw the ball deep. It's so much easier.
Billy Napier obviously got a fantastic performance out of this team coming out of their first bye, and he said it was 3 really competitive days. Now that things are maybe a little bit better, from a coaching standpoint, do you do that again, what you did in the first bye week, and really work them over those 3 days because you had success, or do you back off a little bit because you're a little deeper into the season now?
I would do whatever he did last time. Every bye week I was a part of, it was more go out in shorts, goof around, throw the ball on air, and go home. But they got after it. The difference that I felt like in the Kentucky game, we scored 48 points and all that, but I thought we won the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. You think about it in SEC play, especially against Kentucky the last 3 or 4 years, we've been dominated there. I thought our O-line or a D-line controlled the football game.
Let me a final thought about that. I also thought they outplayed Tennessee at the line of scrimmage, and Tennessee's one of the best 10 teams in the country. Did that Tennessee game maybe the turning point? They may not win these games against these good teams. I get that. But I think as the program moves forward, wasn't that Tennessee game, Shane, a bit of a turning point in terms of physicality and toughness and all that stuff?
Yeah, I think so. It's a game we should have won.
Right.
But my big concern is when, Tennessee's 7 in the country, but I still don't think they're very good on offense. I don't think their quarterback's very good. I don't think Kentucky's quarterback's very good. I don't think Mississippi State's quarterback's very good. I don't think UCF's quarterback that played against us is very good. Well, we're getting ready to see 4 dudes that can really make decisions and throw the football. That's not that I'm worried about a secondary, but I'm just saying from an offensive standpoint, we're going to see the strides that we made the next 4 weeks against these offenses.
Shane Matthews checking in, talking Gator football. Thank you, Shane.
Take care, guys.
All right, let's head to Tallahassee and talk Seminole football. Tom Block checks in from the Seminole Radio Network. Brought to you by Craig Dewhurst, Ramey Alabu, Marky Williams, Scott Hobson, Brandon Thomas, Tiffany Mapp, Randy Taylor, all State Farm agents. Tom, how you doing, buddy?
Good. How are you, Frank?
I'm doing well. So big picture here before we get into the weeds here. This is the kind of challenge that FSU hasn't had in a long time. Mike Norvell hasn't had in a long time. We now know the numbers and how bad it's been. What do you do to not lose the team? What does he do, and where is he on the locker room and not losing the locker room? I mean, nobody wants to lose, and these kids are most of these kids have never gone through this. Where do you see the psychology of this team, given everything that's happened, Tom?
Yeah, it's an important question and a good one. I think for this week they're fine. It's the Miami week, right?
Right.
But, we know what the spread is, and so if that goes according to plan, I do worry about from here on out. But I would say, the psychology of what the last 6 weeks of this season.
You lose, Tom?
When you change the roster and change coaches or whatever else you've done.
Tom, you're checking. You're going in and out there. Can you hear us, Tom?
Yeah.
You were checking in and out. Just to finish your thought. You checked out just a little bit there for a second.
Yeah, sorry about that. Wait, well, what I was saying, I don't think he's lost the team right now. I do worry about that a little the rest of this year, but I think the bigger challenge, the bigger questions that need to be answered is how do you fix it starting next year? You know, you got to wipe the slate clean. You got to turn over the roster. You probably got to turn over several coaches. I do think Mike Norvell's a good coach. I don't think he's ever gone through anything like this at any of his stops as a head coach or an assistant. So there's probably some self-doubt in there too, you know, for him to try and figure out what button can I push. Hopefully this week, though, you don't need to push any buttons. You're playing Miami. If you can't get excited and ready to play that, you shouldn't be wearing the garnet gold.
Tom, how would you like to see him handle the quarterback situation this week?
Well, I think he needs to play both as we go. You know, I think what they need to get to at the end of the season, especially in this day and age, where the odds are if you've got two good quarterbacks or two guys that are competing for a job, chances are you're probably only going to have one on the roster next year, right? Because one of them is going to move on. And I say that not knowing personally either of the kids that you're talking about. So, I mean, if I was Norvell, I would make sure that each of them gets significant time between now and the finish line so that you can make a best decision on this is the guy I want to ride with next year, because I think it's going to be hard to bring them both back. But I would say that Brock Glenn is, you know, in this showed against Duke, even though he struggled early on, I thought he responded well in the second half. And so he's a little further along than Luke. So maybe it's 2/3, 1/3, something like that. Maybe it's a different package for Luke because they do have different skill sets. But I would be communicative with the guys in advance and say, look, this is what it's going to be. Brock, you're going to get these series, get a couple series, just so they're not shocked if it happens in game. They're at least aware that there's going to be some changes and both guys are going to play.
Final thing, Tom, and I'm ahead of myself here. This should be a question as we get near the end of the season, but we're realists here. They're going to Miami. They're later going to Notre Dame. Florida has found something. They're not great, but they've certainly found a little something. They probably should have beat Tennessee. North Carolina's coming in there. I mean, they could be 2-10. And I mean, if you asked me to guess, I'd probably guess that now that they're going to be 2-10. What then? Changes on the staff? I mean, obviously Mike Norvell's in no trouble. He's got plenty of millions of reasons why he's not. But what then as they try and regroup? And again, I'm ahead of myself on the question, but where do you see that part of it headed?
Yeah, I mean, not ahead of the conversation here from what local media are talking about. You know, I'm not going to speculate on names, but I think he's going to have to turn over several assistants.
Yeah.
Maybe a coordinator. I think the biggest question, personally, I don't think he's at this point right now. But you see this with coaches. Clemson's not a great example. Maybe Alabama is. That, you know, Nick would hire defensive coordinators, even though he's a defensive guy, right? Well, Norvell's an offensive guy, so the question is going to come up at some point. Does he need to just hand the keys to an offensive coordinator and let that coordinator, it's that gentleman's playbook, it's his assistant coaches? I don't think we're at that point yet for Norvell. I mean, I think he's still going to want to keep calling plays, but that's been talked about already. But I think at the very least, Frank, there's gonna have to be some changes at the end of this year.
Tom Block checking in from the Seminole Radio Network. Thank you, Tom.
All right, have a good one, guys.
All right, let's head down to South Florida where Joe Zagacki checks in, the terrific play-by-play voice of the Canes. Joe McGee and Gene Coleman, State Farm agents, are his sponsors. How's your heart now? I asked you last week. Now, how's your heart? Any better? Same?
Yeah, pretty good.
Same?
Pretty good.
All right.
I mean, you know, last week was another roller coaster, another cardiac event, but we're hanging in there. Been fun, edge of your seat. So,
yeah,
just what a play-by-play guy wants.
Yeah, let me ask you.
Down to the wire game.
Let me. There's all kind of good with Miami. They're one of the best teams in the country. I think Cam Ward might be the best player in the country. They're 7-0. But let me go a different direction. I'm going to ask something that might sound negative, but I want to ask you. They've allowed over 120 points now in 3 games. They have, or somewhere thereabouts. How concerned are you about the defensive effort and where the defense is? I know. Listen, I mean, Virginia Tech, Cal, and Louisville are okay, but it's not like they're playing, you know, better teams. Are you worried about the defense, or Miami? Is Mario Cristobal worried about the defense here?
Well, it's hard not to have some level of concern with the amount of big plays that they've been giving up the last 3 weeks. So, but there aren't many answers. Maybe they tweak the scheme a little bit. Because, as I've said before, they allocate a lot of their assets to stopping the run. Their question mark at the beginning of the year was the secondary, and I still think it is the secondary. I think they've got capable players in the secondary, but I don't think they've got dynamic players. Nobody's coming to the line of scrimmage. A quarterback's not going, we're not going to pick on Darryl Porter today. He's going to come up with a big play. Darryl Porter hasn't had an interception since he arrived in Miami. His last interception was West Virginia. And the same with the rest of the defensive backs. So I think that's probably more than anything a personnel issue. Their strength is their front seven, and they've got to do some of the other things better, which would be tackle better. And it's odd, Frank, because in the Louisville game, real quick, they held Louisville to 3 for 12 on third down. Yet Louisville has 45 points on the scoreboard.
Yeah.
So some of that stuff just doesn't marry up. And it's the big plays. You got to stop giving up the big plays.
Joe, Cam Ward is obviously getting a lot of Heisman talk. Obviously, the team is undefeated, has a chance to win the national title. But how is Cam Ward handling the spotlight nationally that is on him?
Well, I just noticed that he did an Adidas commercial, and but at practice I would not have known that. I thought he looked pretty good at practice today. In fact, I thought he looked great at practice today. And when it was over, he was doing the same thing he always does, throw to his receivers. So I think he's been handling it really well. I've not seen a change in his demeanor since he arrived here.
24 touchdowns and 5 picks, and you're halfway through the season, just a little bit past that. Where does he rank? Listen, Gino Torretta and Vinny Testaverde won Heisman's down there, okay? Bernie Kosar won a title. Steve Walsh won a title. We can go on and on and on. This is one of the really good quarterback performances I've seen down there. Wouldn't you have to agree?
It's been unbelievable. Gino was out there today. I probably didn't have the heart to tell him that. I think Cam Ward's the best quarterback we've had since him or Vinny.
Yeah.
And the reason I say Vinny is because Vinny was a mobile quarterback with a big arm. Vinny could run. In those days, you didn't really talk about dual threat quarterbacks. But Vinny could run and evade the rush and create big plays, just like Cam Ward. Ward can run, probably a better runner than Vinny. His accuracy is incredible, and I think he's probably doing this with a lesser cast, to be quite honest with you. I think his receivers are good, but I think he's probably making the guys around him better than they are, and that's what a great quarterback does, right? He makes everybody else better. And that's what Cam Ward has done.
If Mario gets a chance to put up a big number, do you think he does it?
Well, can I answer it this way? I hope he has to make that decision.
Yeah. Hey, Joe, I'm going to go out on the limb and say he's going to have to make that decision.
I think he's going to have to make that decision.
I live life on the edge a little bit, Joe, but I got a hunch. Final thing. Let me ask you about that. How surprised are you at how badly it has gone in Tallahassee? I mean, you know this FSU team as well as anyone. You play them every year. I mean, I'm shocked that this team that was 13-0 last year is there. I've seen teams fall off the cliff, but not this far off the cliff. How surprised are you that it's gone this badly in Tallahassee?
Well, we've been down that road here, but maybe not quite.
Not that road.
Not
this road. You haven't been down this road.
And I heard what you said to Tom and about what's ahead of them. I am very surprised because, really, Frank, if you look at their defense individually, they've got good players on their defense. They've got guys on their defense that probably would play at Miami. Azaria Thomas would play at Miami. Kevin Knowles would probably play here. They've got a couple of defensive linemen. Certainly Patrick Payton could play for Miami or for anybody in the country. So I think I'm surprised at the way teams have moved the ball on them. Offensively, they got stuck because of the quarterback situation. And then you take a look at the amount of players they lost with Coleman and Travis and Benson. They got themselves in a pickle with maybe not being ready to replace those caliber players. But they've been, I hate to say it, inept on offense.
Oh.
And in this era of college football, I think that, the three of us could score 15 points in a game.
Yeah, boy, and you're exactly right. It's been that tough. Miami and FSU doesn't look like much of a game, but it's always fun when those two get together. Comes up on Saturday night. Joe Zagacki, the play-by-play voice of the Miami Hurricanes. Thank you, Joe.
All right, fellas, thank you.
All right, that is the State Farm College Football Report. Shane Matthews talking Gator football. Tom Block talking about the Noles. Joe Zagacki checking in on the Kings. We'll keep it on college football. The Woolsey Morecambe National College Football Report is next. Ron Higgins checks in, talking LSU and more. Stay with us.
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Every team has bumps and bruises, but a major injury can shake the season.
Let me know if he's ever going to play football again, or do I need to find me another wide receiver?
Listen for the personal injury attorney's Farah and Farah Injury Update.
Jacksonville
on 1010XL.
This is Hays Carlyon for Kingfish Pest Control. Are you tired of spiders, ants, roaches, or other pests invading your home? Call the winning team at Kingfish Pest Control. Right now, score 20% off your new pest control service when you start during the football season. Also, enter their Swat That Kick Jaguars promotion at jaguars.com for a chance to win 3 years of free pest defense. Save big and defend your home with Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Let's start the debate. Why would someone buy a new car from you? We have an exclusive 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty on every new vehicle. We offer a competitive wow price plus free oil changes. How much will someone get for their trade? We offer more than $4,000 over KBV value. Well, we never lose a trade over price. Okay, when is the best time to buy a car? Right now. Ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't matter which side you pick. At Beaver Toyota and Beaver Chevrolet, you get it all. Let us show you why we're the winning vote.
Frank Frangie here, and I can't say enough good things about the team at Sunshine Turf and the work they've done for us. Let Sunshine Turf transform your backyard into a low-maintenance oasis that will be green all year long with artificial turf. Caleb and his team can help you create the lush outdoor space of your dreams, whether you want a durable place for your kids to play or you're ready to say goodbye to muddy paw prints. Visit sunshineturf.info or call 904-383-0243 for a free quote today from Sunshine Turf.
Bold City AC, heating that rules.
Is your AC ready for the holidays? Bold City Heating and Air ensures your AC stays in tip-top shape. We know that a clean AC is a healthy AC. Upgrade yours for just $96 a month and enjoy free duct cleanings with your new system. Plus, ask about our 0% financing options.
Bold City AC, we got the crew. Bold City AC.
Visit boldcityac.com.
Hey, football fans, looking for the ultimate game day experience? Best Bet St. Augustine has you covered. We're talking big plays on the big screens, food specials that'll make your taste buds cheer, and drink deals that'll keep your spirits high. And get this, we're open till 4 a.m., serving food and drinks until 2. Make the smart play. Head to Best Bet St. Augustine and ante up for your team. Find us at bestbetjacks.com. That's bestbetjacks.com. Best Bet St. Augustine, where every game day is a win.
Are you 18 years or older, just got married, just got divorced, or have children? Listen up. Have you done your last will and estate planning? You have questions? Call Matt Hinson with the Hinson Law Firm. Reach him at 527-1700. Office is Jacksonville, Florida. And don't let the state decide your fate.
1010XL's running game takes a giant step forward.
Well, Fred Taylor is the whole package.
Fred Taylor joins Dan and Jeff on the drill. Monday morning running back with Fred Taylor is fueled by Epstein & Robbins and Monahan Jewelers.
Hello, I'm Jerry Holland, Duval County Supervisor of Elections. Do you like lines? And I'm not talking about offensive and defensive lines. I'm talking about the long lines you will be standing in if you wait to vote on Election Day. If you're a Duval County voter, vote early at any of our 24 early voting sites. For more information, go to northfloridavotes.com to learn more. We'll see you at the polls.
I'm Frank Frangie for Ricketts Electric. Hurricane season is here, and now's the time to think about a home generator. My friends at Ricketts Electric can make sure your home always has power. They can install the perfect generator for your home and are even offering a 10% discount this month if you mention 1010XL. So call my friend Zach Ricketts today at 904-320-5960 or find them on Facebook. That's Ricketts Electric, the city's best power connection. Call them at 320-5960.
The experts at AMCO have been fixing cars for almost 60 years. Over that time, they've gotten more complex than ever. That's why our techs undergo rigorous training and certifications, so they can fix anything, including the most complicated repairs that come with some of the latest technologies. After 60 years, there's nothing we haven't seen or fixed. It's how we know cars inside and out.
Money tight? We can finance almost anybody. Find the AMCO transmissions nearest you at amcojacksonville.com.
What defines a hero? Dedication, loyalty, courage. Every day at AMCO, we serve heroes. For over 60 years, we've repaired and maintained the most critical public service vehicles. From complex transmissions to simple brake jobs with flexible financing and the extra safety precautions we need. The heroes we serve don't all wear uniforms. They're people like you. At AMCO, we're proud to serve all of you. AA MCO.
Family owned and operated in Jacksonville, Orange Park, St. Augustine, and St. Mary's, Georgia.
Need protection? Call Craig and Christine Kaprosky at Goosehead Insurance. The Kaproskys are a husband-wife team committed to finding you the right coverage at the right price in just a few short minutes. For home, auto, flood, or specialty insurance, Craig and Christine Kaprosky are the answer. Craig.Kaprosky at Goosehead.com.
I'm with Greg Mackey from Cycles of Jacksonville, and even though you're the place to go for fun, you're also a place to go for generators. People need generators.
And the Honda lineup is amazing. They make the super quiet model, inverter technology, the electricity super clean. You can have conversations with them. You can back up your whole house with a Honda generator. So we have them in stock, and we're ready to ride.
So you have generators big enough that could run everything in the house?
Absolutely.
Check it out, Cycles of Jacksonville on Atlantic near Regency for generators.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Time now for the College Football Insider, brought to you by the law firm of Woolsey Moorcoat on The Frangie Show.
All right, let's talk a little college football. Frank Frangie, Hays Carlyon with you. Let's bring in Ron Higgins, veteran SEC writer, now covering LSU, joins us now. Ron, how are you, man?
I'm good. How are you doing, man?
We are doing great. Thanks for spending some time. A lot of SEC stuff to talk about. But I want to start with the LSU. You know, it's funny because of all the attention Georgia deservedly gets, and here comes Texas to the league, and how's Alabama going to do under Kalen DeBoer, and on and on and on. People probably haven't talked about LSU enough. All of a sudden, they win Saturday night. They're in sole possession of first place. Is LSU better than you thought they'd be, Ron, or with Jaden Daniels gone and the like, or about where you thought they'd be?
About where I thought they'd be, but I mean, the problem, I wasn't so much concerned about the offense because I knew it'd be a little bit different type of offense than what they did last year as far as stuff that fits Garrett Nussmeier's skill set. And I mean, last year with Jaden Daniels, he was such a dynamic player. He gets you like 50 yards in a blink running the ball. I mean. And honestly, that they could score quick. This team kind of picks you apart, prods you and picks you apart. Nussmeier is really, really smart with the ball. He's a smart kid. Of course, son of Doug Nussmeier, football coach, been around forever. And they just kind of pick you apart. They have a really good offensive line. It's a veteran. All the starters return except one guy. They've been together now. The starters probably 3 years now. So it's a veteran line. They've given up 2 sacks all year. They protect Nussmeier well. The running game has gotten a little bit better every game. They found a guy they like, Caden Durham, a freshman from Duncanville, Texas, which is ironic because this week the 2 best running backs in this game, Caden Durham of LSU is from Texas, and Levon Moss of A&M is from basically outside of Baton Rouge. But defensively, they've gotten better as the years got on, and Blake Baker, they got from Missouri defensive coordinator. He wanted more blitzes and more different looks, and it's taken a while for them to settle in. But honestly, the thing people probably never expected was that LSU's defense solidified and got better when Harold Perkins had a season-ending knee injury. As strange as that sounds, they could never figure out where to play him. He was great coming off the end, but he was too light to play middle linebacker, which they tried to play him. And it just seemed like everybody in their defense was just almost every other week was being moved to a different spot to accommodate where they try to fit him in that week. And when he got hurt with a season-ending injury, and LSU had open day, Kelly basically said, okay, I'm looking at the film, and these are the guys I'm going with. These are the positions we're going to play, and that's it. And since then, they've taken off, and they got a hell-on-wheels linebacker named Whit Weeks. who just from Georgia. He has a brother also who plays here who's a redshirt this year. And with him and the rest of the group they've created 8 turnovers in their 3 SEC games, stuff they didn't do last year. Really good pass rushes, a lot of blitzes. And so they've kind of turned around on defense. It's not a great defense. They're still going to get gashed every once in a while, but it's a lot better than it has been. So they've kind of corrected their stuff since the start of the season. It's the same thing. I mean, since Kelly's been here, they've started slow at the start of the season, and then they've gotten better and better and better each game. And this year, that's the same thing as this year. And people would like them to see them, not lose their season opener, but they've played good season openers since he's been here. I mean, they played Florida State back-to-back years when Florida State was decent, and then they lost to USC this year when USC supposedly was decent. But they've gotten better every game. It's kind of a hallmark of his teams. He's a really good coach. He really is, and people rag him out a lot because some of the stuff he did here early with the Southern accent or whatever. But the guy's a really smart, intelligent football coach who's comfortable in his own skin, and the players have confidence in him. And we'll see what happens. Elko is a Kelly protege. He coached with Kelly at Notre Dame for 1 year, so this is an interesting matchup.
Yeah, without a doubt, Ron. It's Hays Carlyon. Great to talk with you. Thank you for joining us. The 2 undefeated teams, the last 2 remaining in the SEC. LSU going to Texas A&M. What are some storylines that you're keying in on this game? What does LSU have to do to beat the Aggies?
I think LSU basically, for them, it really comes down to, you hate to say the cliche, but it's line play. I mean, A&M averages like 200 yards a game rushing, and 107 of it belongs to, in the conference play. About 107 of it belongs to Moss, so if they can plug Moss up some, that's a big help. A&M's quarterback, Connor Wegman, blows kind of hot and cold. He hasn't been great this year, and offensively, I think LSU has an edge because they have protected Nussmeier well. LSU needs to run the ball fairly decent against A&M, but I don't think A&M's seen a quarterback and receivers like they'll see with LSU and Nussmeier. The thing that Nussmeier does is really impressive is he throws about everybody on the field. He throws to an average of 8 different guys catch the ball every game from Nussmeier. He's had games where he's thrown to 10 different guys. He doesn't hone in on anybody. He has some favorite guys he likes. He likes his tight end, who's a clutch receiver. But he spreads it out. It's interesting that he's thrown 18 touchdown passes to 8 different guys. And if you look at him, he leads the SEC in touchdown passes, but none of LSU's receivers are in the top 10 in touchdown passes caught because everybody eats. And that's probably the secret why he's so effective is that he makes his reads really quick. He throws to different people, and that's hard to deal with for some defenses.
Ron, how do you see the league overall? Are you surprised that Georgia walloped Texas the way they did?
Man, I love this league this year. It's been awesome. And part of it I hate is that I know NIL has a lot to do with it. You just go buy guys now. And I hate that aspect of it, that you just go buy guys, and you rent a guy, and you buy them, and you plug in your holes, and you hope they can play together sooner or later, quicker, cohesive. But I love the fact that, Vandy beat Alabama, for Christ's sake. I went outside to see the sky was falling. Man, That was awesome. And in the same day, Arkansas takes care of Tennessee at home after Tennessee did Oklahoma. I thought, coming in this year, I thought Texas was going to be much better prepared than Oklahoma was for the SEC, and it's kind of proven that way. But because I thought that Sark had been in this league, he understands what type of players it takes to win this league, and he's recruited that way. So I thought Texas would be better prepared than Oklahoma, and it's kind of played out that way. But I don't, from week to week, anything can happen. Honest to God. I don't know if you're betting on games in this league, you must be on drugs because from week to week, it's just stupid. When you think you got it figured out, you don't. I mean, there wasn't one SEC football fan who watched the Alabama game and was sitting there just screaming on the TV, going, "Come on, Vandy, finish him off," because that's what college football is supposed to be about. Everybody's got a shot, and this year I really believe, except for Mississippi State when they are playing better, I think in this league everybody's got a shot. I mean, Oklahoma's not playing good now, but I think everybody's got a shot, and that's the beauty of this league this year. I know Florida struggled, but they picked it up. They've gotten better. Nobody has really gone way in the tank. Everybody's kind of, they've lost, they've kind of bounced back and figured things out. I think that's why I like this league this year.
Yeah, that's well said, Ron. I want to ask you about a guy that you got to see up close, make a lot of big plays, and a guy that this city has fallen in love with, Brian Thomas Jr., having an incredible rookie season for the Jaguars. What was he like to cover, and are you at all surprised by the immediate success that he's having?
Not shocked at all. I mean, this kid, he worked so hard to get healthy at LSU. Once he was healthy, it was on. Knew he was a deep threat. I mean, he worked really. He was the guy Daniels looked for deep. I mean, that's the guy he looked for. Obviously he gets plays in big chunks. Malik Neighbors was a guy who kind of probed the short to mid part of the defense and gets up an occasionally long. But Brian was your long distance guy. It doesn't surprise me at all. One, because he works really hard to make himself into a good player despite some early injuries. Kept a good attitude. Plus, he was so well liked on the team. Just a good kid. And when you deal with guys in the media, you can tell who guys are jerks and what guys aren't jerks. This was a good kid, and he has a lot of people in Baton Rouge pulling for him. He and Neighbors and Jaden Daniels were well loved by the people here. And what Brian has done is not a surprise. But it comes in the whole line of LSU receivers every week. If you look around the league, there's 4 or 5 LSU receivers scoring touchdowns every weekend, from Jefferson to Jamar Chase to Malik to Brian Thomas. It's amazing the receivers LSU has cranked out the last 5 or 6 years, and really beyond that with Odell Beckham.
Yep. And we're awfully glad we've got one here. Ron Higgins checking in from Shreveport, talking LSU football with us. LSU and Texas A&M get together on Saturday night. Ron, thanks for joining us, man. We appreciate it.
All right, guys. Take care. We'll see you.
All right. Ron talking SEC football. That is the Woolsey Morecambe National College Football Report. We'll take a break. Hays has an abbreviated headlines after this. Stay with us.
It's The Ride Home with The Frangie Show. From the Harrell and Harrell studio, don't settle for less than you deserve.
This is Brent Musburger's Action Update, brought to you by Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, here are the latest lines from my guys in the desert.
NFL Week 8 begins on Thursday night. The Rams at 2-4, taking on the 5-1 Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota 3-point road favorite, minus 150 on the money line. The Rams at plus 130 with the over-under at SoFi Stadium at 48.5. We have a pitching matchup now for the World Series. It'll be Garrett Cole getting the start for the Yankees. Dodgers going with Jack Flaherty. Los Angeles minus a 1.5 plus 165 on the money line. Yankees getting a 1.5 minus 200. On the money line, New York plus 105. Los Angeles minus 125 with the over-under run total at 8.5, both the over-under at minus 110. This update brought to you by Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning, a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm Tony Desiri with your VSiN Action Update on 1010 XL.
This election, if you want someone who will take care of the messes, someone who isn't afraid to get dirty and work in the trenches, someone who will pump out the problems and prevent future ones, vote for the Duck.
Need your septic tank serviced? Call Duck Rooter, your 5-star Google-rated septic company. Visit duckduckrooter.com.
I approve this message.
When you're stuck, call the Duck. duckduckrooter.com.
Hey, sports fans, it's Hays Carlyon for MyBookie. Find your midseason stride with MyBookie. Take advantage of their live betting, especially if a heavy favorite gets off to a slow start. and check out their cool prop bets. If you haven't signed up, go to mybookie.ag and register for a free account. Use promo code 1010XL to get a double bonus. For a limited time, MyBookie will double your money on your first deposit. Let's take a look at some updated MyBookie lines. The Jaguars are a 4.5-point underdog against the visiting Packers. The over-under is 50 points. The Texans are a 5.5-point home favorite over the Colts. And in college football, the Canes are a 21-point home favorite over the Knowles. Sign up with that promo code 1010XL to claim your deposit bonus. Again, it's a double bonus. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. And don't forget that promo code 1010XL.
At Honda, we appreciate all the comparisons to other vehicles. And no matter how many times they compare their vehicles to a Honda, only a Honda is a Honda. Remember, value, quality, safety, there is no substitute. Visit your local Honda dealer now and experience the difference.
Jimerson Burr is a full-service, Florida-based commercial law firm that has experience and capabilities to handle any legal issue a business is confronted with. Learn more about what they can do for you at jimersonfirm.com.
Ever wonder how you can transform your living spaces into captivating works of art? At First Coast Lighting and Fans, they offer a huge selection of high-quality products to match your desire for elegance, quality, and uniqueness. Visit their showroom on Phillips Highway at the Avenues and step into a world of quality without compromise. Discover the difference that locally owned expertise makes and let them help you experience the transformation from average to extraordinary. At First Coast Lighting and Fans.
Is an injury keeping you on the sidelines? Whether it's your shoulder, neck, back, knee, wrist, or ankle, don't let pain hold you back any longer. At Injury Care Centers, they offer the same high-tech treatments trusted by the pros to supercharge your recovery without surgery. The road to recovery starts the moment you pick up the phone. 904-783-0008. That's 904-783-0008. Injury care starts at Injury Care Centers.
He used to catch passes for Spurrier.
Oh, my! What a great catch in the corner!
Now he throws opinions at Napier. Chris Doring, Tuesday mornings on The Drill. Brought to you by the personal injury attorneys of Farah and Farah on 1010XL.
Ready to sharpen your aim or find the perfect firearm? Come to St. Nicholas Guns and Range for our White Tag sales event. Up to 20% off all White Tag firearms all October with a huge selection of guns, ammo, and gear, plus Jacksonville's best indoor range for every skill level. They've got what you need to hit your target. If you're a pro or just starting, their friendly experts will guide you at 4630 Blanding Boulevard or online at stnickguns.com. St. Nicholas Guns and Range, gear up, shoot a lot, shoot better.
Googan Nation, it's Dreamfinders Danny Hicken here to tell you this is no dream. The folks at Dreamfinders Homes right now have an unbeatable interest rate for you. You may not think you can afford a Dreamfinders home. Well, think again. Take advantage of a 2.99% year one rate. I said it, 2.99%. 15 Jacksonville communities to choose from. Find that dream house and take advantage of an unbeatable rate. Move now, literally. Dreamfinders Homes, the official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
These are interesting economic times. That's why it's so important to have someone you can count on. That's ITP Partners. Jacksonville folks taking care of our Jacksonville money. Experience? You best believe you want to give your hard-earned money to folks you trust. Jeff Hartman, Chris Bryan, Dan Abel, Reed Wingate, Scott Regner, Janice Cobb, and Reagan Wright have the expertise and knowledge to help clients in their financial lives, focusing on investment management, financial planning, and risk management. ITP Partners. Financial partners for life. Securities offered through American Portfolios Financial Services, Inc. Member FINRA SIPC.
In its final year, we encourage you to help create great futures for young people when you run or walk at Mackenzie's Run, Saturday, November 23rd. Join Boys and Girls Club of Northeast Florida for a 5K and 1 mile fun run through the beautiful stadium course at TPC Sawgrass. Enjoy food, live music, face painting, family fun, and more at our Runners Village. Register at mackenziesrun.org. Mackenzie's 5K and Fun Run, November 23rd. mackenziesrun.org.
Collisions happen on every play in football. Collisions also happen every day on the road. If you need auto body repair, from a $30 job to a $30,000 job, trust San Jose Collision in Mandarin.
Hey, David, tell us a little bit about Royal Pest Services. Well, Chris, I was raised in a middle-class family, and bugs have legs. And these bugs... Whoa. David,
Just tell us about Royal Pest Services.
Just go to royalpestservices.com.
This is Dr. Turner Vossler, Assistant Team Physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jaguars, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
After the Jaguars flexed on the Patriots with a dominant running performance last Sunday, how much of a run-heavy offense can fans expect to see from here on out? Here's Doug Peterson on how he's approaching pass or run-heavy.
Is our offensive line, are they playing well right now? I do believe they are. And I think that's been a strength of us, the last couple of weeks. And you lean on that, just like our quarterback's been clean throwing the football too, so you lean on that as well. But I think it's not until you get into the football game that you kind of figure out that, okay, this is working or this is not working, and you switch gears.
While the rush attack is very useful to the offense, with weapons like BTJ, Christian Kirk, and Evan Ingram, expect to see a balance of pass and run from here on out. I'm Max Fink with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? Gather round.
It's Hays' Headlines, presented by Harrell & Harrell. Don't settle for less than you deserve. Hear all about it. Here's Hays Carlyon.
Welcome back to the Frangie Show. Frank Frangie is here along with JJ LaSelva. I'm Hays Carlyon. Thank you to our friends at Harrell & Harrell. Give them a call at 251-1111. We will start with the Jaguars. Doug Peterson met with reporters prior to practice today and praised the Jaguars' offensive line. Frank, those guys it looks like they're really starting to figure it out. Cam Robinson didn't practice today with the concussion, but the offensive line the last few weeks is really starting to gel.
Yeah, one thing Doug Peterson has said is we need those guys to play together for a while. They had not played together hardly at all last year, and now they've played together. Until Cam went out, they had pretty much been together most plays. And so, and I thought Walker Little went in and did a nice job. So, yeah, I think the cohesiveness of playing, excuse me, Hayes, of playing together all this time has mattered and helped them. It really has.
Absolutely. A lot of news in the AFC South today. We'll start with the Titans trading receiver DeAndre Hopkins to Kansas City for a conditional fourth-round pick. Good to see him out of the division, but, boy, great weapon for Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I love it because you got to play him twice, and that's twice you don't have to play him. But, yeah, the rich get richer because even in his 30s, I think he's got a little something left.
Absolutely. And in Indianapolis, the Colts opened the window for defensive tackle DeForest Buckner to return off of IR. They also are holding out hope that they'll have running back Jonathan Taylor active for Sunday's game against Houston. That is a big divisional battle.
They have been without their best defensive player and their best offensive player for a long time, so that's a big deal for the Indiana. If both of those guys can not only play but start playing, that's a big deal for the Colts.
Odd story in Carolina with the Panthers. Quarterback Andy Dalton in a car accident with his family yesterday. Yeah. Everybody is fine, but Dalton has a thumb injury. They're going to start Bryce Young in Sunday's game. So Bryce Young, last year's #1 overall pick, who's mightily struggled, now has a chance to get out there and show if he's improved.
Yeah, I can't imagine that starting Andy Dalton was going to last very long. And by the way, I hate that he had an accident. I hope he's okay, and I'm glad that the whole family's okay. But beyond that, I look, the Panthers are going nowhere. They're one of the worst teams in the league. You want your young quarterback to get reps. The reason you benched him was for him to clear his head. This wasn't about, well, let's put Andy Dalton in so we can win more games. It doesn't matter how many you win this year. This is a throwaway season. But I think they benched Bryce Young because he was struggling so much. Just watch the other guy play and get your head about you a little bit. And now I think that's going to happen.
Let's get to Major League Baseball. Rest in peace to Dodgers legend Fernando Valenzuela, who died Tuesday night at the age of 63. The Mexican icon brought Fernando Mania to the game in 1981, winning the NL Cy Young and Rookie of the Year award.
What a great moment in baseball when he came along. Remember, everyone can still see his windup. He looks up at the sky. We all can picture it. When they took him off, they said he's going to take time off the Spanish broadcast to deal with his health. I never realized how critical it was. I never realized that he was in such a bad. I figured he'd get healthy and be back on those Spanish-speaking broadcasts next year, and never recovered. And so, he was a he was a bright spot in Major League Baseball in the 80s for sure.
Without a doubt. We will wrap it up with the NBA. LeBron James takes the court last night with Bronny, his son, making history as the first father-son to play together in an NBA game.
I think it's cool as heck. And people say Bronny shouldn't be in the league and LeBron shouldn't control all this. Screw that. He's earned that. You know, they're a good family. I'm glad they got to play together. Who's it hurting? You know, I think it's for people, all the haters, the heck with them. I think it's a good story. What do you think?
No, I thought it was cool, and again, I just think to me, it's like, well, LeBron James, if it makes him happy, if it gets him to play an extra year, why not do it?
And that's good for everybody.
I don't think Bronny's going to play a lot, but I think you want to make sure you go ahead and make the history because you just don't know. With injury, something could happen. It was really cool, too, that Ken Griffey and Ken Griffey Jr. were there.
Yes.
Griffey Jr. is really tight with LeBron. So, I thought it was a cool moment.
Yeah, good moment for us. No question about it. I love it, and I love that he did it. Those are headlines. A nice job, as always, with headlines. Let's see where we've been during the show today, JJ.
Now, the cool down from the cool guys at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Fast, reliable, and honest service since '87.
We talked about Brian Thomas Jr. with Ron Higgins later in our Woolsey Morecambe National College Football Report. Also talked to LSU, Texas A&M with him. We also talked about is the deep ball to Brian Thomas Jr. becoming, or has it become, the identity of this football team, at least their offensive identity. I think maybe it has. We talked college football about the narrative changing, and maybe now Billy Napier wins 2 more games, and he is going to be the new or the same coach, or won't be a new coach. We talked about that. And we had the State Farm College Football Report. Shane Matthews talking Gators. Tom Block checked in on the Noles. And Joe Zagacki talked the Canes. That is where we've been over the course of the show today. Did you know there's college baseball coming?
Really?
Florida has always played Georgia the night in sort of an exhibition college game the night before Florida-Georgia. Well, this year, JU's playing Florida.
Oh, cool.
The night before Florida. It's a really cool deal. They packed the place. JU's got a very good baseball program, as you know. Florida does as well. So, JJ, you got a couple tickets to that,
I do.
Right?
But it's called the City of Jacksonville Fall Exhibition. And like you said, it's JU facing off against the Gators at 121 Financial Ballpark November 1st. So be caller number 4 right now, and I'll hook you up with a pair of tickets.
Yeah, caller number 4. And again, that's a fun night because it's, number one, everything Florida-Georgia weekend's a fun night. And so, a fun weekend. So it's going to be awful fun.
I bet the weather will be beautiful, man.
Absolutely. And like you said, I mean, that will be a very competitive game. It always is.
Yeah, it will.
A lot of talent on both those clubs.
I don't experience Florida-Georgia weekend anymore because we travel a lot. In fact, we're leaving early. The Jags are on that Saturday.
Where are the Jags that weekend?
Philly.
Oh,
and
Philly.
So it's an early trip just to get out of town for Florida-Georgia, which I understand.
Yeah.
But I still say this, and again, it hasn't been as much in my life since I've started doing the Jags 11 years ago. But Florida-Georgia weekend is spectacular. Mm-hmm. Florida-Georgia weekend is one of the most spectacular things this city has. It's certainly on the list, and enjoy it safely and responsibly, but I hope people get a chance to enjoy it. Let's say hello to Rick Ballou.
Now, the 2-minute drill brought to you by Injury Care Centers. Discover BioTarget Regenerative Therapy, a safer drug-free solution for lasting pain relief. Visit GoBioTarget.com.
Rick Ballou is here.
What's up?
You ready for the World Series? Are you excited about it?
Yeah,
it's a great World Series.
We haven't had a game last night or tonight.
Yeah, me too.
Friday's too much.
Me too.
Especially, we're going to get November baseball, so.
Yeah, but Yankees, Dodgers, if your team can't be in it, that will hold a lot of attention. I'm excited about it.
Big fan here for the Dodgers.
Of course.
In remembrance of Fernando Mania.
You know what? I told Hays a minute ago, when they said he's coming off the Spanish-speaking broadcast to deal with health issues, I had no idea the extent that he must have been ill, Rick.
63, man. That's just way, way, way too young.
Yeah.
What a sensation he was. I just caught something on that was viral on Twitter. I guess no one faced him more than Dale Murphy. No one took him deep more than Dale Murphy.
I didn't know that.
8 career home runs. I think it was like 118 at-bats.
How we doing?
But I watched an at-bat, and it was cool. I mean, when TBS had those Braves games on every day.
Absolutely.
And, WGN had the Cubs on. And it was just it was a different world then with a lot of day baseball. But he really was. He took, what Ohtani has done is second to nothing. But Fernando, that was a huge deal when he came into baseball.
Because then pitchers threw complete games and pitchers stayed out. So you saw him the whole game, and there were no 5 1/3. Your starter wasn't going 5 1/3. Your starter, it was an amazing time in baseball.
It really was.
The way he played, the energy with which he played, the rocking back, looking at the sky before the pitch. And if you haven't seen video of him, go on YouTube and watch it because it's pretty cool stuff. So,
a little bit like Louis Tion, who we lost last month.
Very similar.
Louis primarily a decade before, but JJ and I were talking about it. Peter Gammons wrote it. There was a 14-inning game between Nolan Ryan and Louis Tion. Both pitchers went 14 innings. Both pitchers threw more than 160 pitches.
How about that? Right.
In one game.
And
you were not going to take those guys off the mound.
And probably both made their next start 5 days later. There's no doubt in my mind. What's coming up tonight?
Tim Brando in 20 minutes.
Okay.
So Timmy B is, I think he's got TCU and Texas Tech, but we'll do what's big around here, college football wise, with Tim Brando. We'll visit with John Osher coming up at 7 o'clock, and then we'll check the money. We'll go to Las Vegas in our final hour and visit with our buddy Rafael Esparza.
Sounds good. Coming up now is Rick Beluga's Into the Night. Folks, that's our program. Remember, tomorrow now, 2 o'clock, Greg McGarity stops by tomorrow. We'll talk a little Gator Bowl football and a whole lot more. 2 to 4 tomorrow. It's back to our normal fall Thursday, so we'll see you at 2 o'clock. For Hays and JJ, I'm Frank Frangie. So long.